So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me here again today on another video. Another moment, another chance for us to share how we feel about things. Do excuse me for a second. A little bit. Man, today's intention, feeling, message is about evil. It's about evil. It's about our ability to be evil, and it's about our intricacies, our complexities, our own personal, I won't call it bias, maybe just the things that has happened in our lives that have resulted in the decisions we've made. I don't think anybody chooses to be evil. That's what I want to get at today. What's that, dog? Sword noob? Yes, you did. Thank you for joining me so passionately. I appreciate you more than I can express. How are you doing, my dude? How are you? Oh, how are you doing? Have you been evil? Have you? I've been evil. At least what I would consider evil, I've been. How did that make you feel? Did you make those decisions because of circumstance? Or did you make those decisions because you wanted to? I feel a lot of the evil we're seeing in our world right now, we're not seeing because there is a malicious energy happening. I think it's happening just because of desperation. People are in pain, so much pain. And we're expected to do certain things. We're expected to survive. We're expected to literally just get by and survive. And unfortunately, some people have figured out that by stepping on others, you can assure yourself more survival. It doesn't feel good though. I mean, maybe to some. Maybe there are some people that feel good doing stuff like that. But the experience I've had with being mean, the experiences I've had with hatred amongst one another, the experiences I've had with aggression in any sort of situation have all been negative. There's no potential benefit coming out of those interactions. And yet we still find ourselves doing these things. The Witcher Season 2 is out right now. And the Witcher universe has been an amazing insight in my personal life into this understanding that human beings, us human beings, can be monsters even more so than things with fangs, claws, bone protruding from their skin. Human beings. And it's our actions, it's doing the same thing over and over again when we might know that it's not the right thing to do. Unfortunately, what happens with us, and I wonder if it's an egoic thing, I wonder if it's a victim thing, when we start to kind of fall by the wayside, if you will, when it comes to actions, and I'm not trying to judge any of us, I'm speaking in such general terms as I can right now, but when we fall into behaviors that we might see as evil, we start to identify with or feel that is what we are. This thing that I've done, this thing that I've said, this atrocity that I've committed, whatever, that's me. Man, did I leave my Garrick? I'll be back in a second. Would you wait for me? Please, I would really appreciate it. I'll be back right now, momentarily, I promise. Okay. I'm back. Sorry. When it rains, I decline answering that title, but will say it is a thought-provoking one. I'm sorry if it's one that maybe hurts a little bit when it rains. I really am. And I respect you for not, in your words, not answering, declining to answer. Thank you for joining me in this moment, for sharing the space with me. Ooh, Milky Geese says, people think there's only so much pie to go around. We've been made to believe that. You know, I wanted to like think about why do people think that, what has shown them that that is the case. But we've been made to think that because we live in this economic scarcity structured kind of society, we think that there isn't enough of things. Maybe that will be our intention. Enough for everyone. Man, the way you spell enough it breaks my brain, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Enough. Because I genuinely believe that that is how we can abolish, eliminate, reduce, at least, a lot of the evil that's happening in the world right now. It's just realizing that we have enough. Realizing we have enough in a way where it is realized for everyone, if that makes sense. Because we have the resources. More food goes to waste than people need to eat food in the world right now. We're already in that state. We're producing more than enough for every single person on the planet. We're literally throwing things away in order to maintain scarcity, just so that some people will continue to pay us premiums for things that would improve, sustain, maintain proper lives. And if we can get to a point in a society where we take care of one another, I believe that evil is going to go with that. Because I genuinely don't believe that people want to be evil. I genuinely don't believe it. I feel it is so much circumstances. And then those circumstances lead to decisions being made. And then those decisions being made leads to an egoic shift when it comes to the understanding of self. And as soon as that happens, as soon as you shift your understanding of yourself in a way where you now believe you are this thing that is less, and as a result of that, you should, can, would do anything to make yourself more. Be it stepping on people, be it killing people, be it, taking from people, be it whatever. And it happens, we see it everywhere in our world. Scarcity. Even ever going to do a bong rip? I've done a few bong rips, sword noob. I was thinking about it a little bit today, but I was like, I didn't smoke a joint yesterday. And the whole process, ritual almost, of rolling a joint, writing an intention, the process of communicating while we do this little act, is very therapeutic to me. I do take my time with it, and I try and be very gentle. At least as gentle as you can be with rolling a joint. Where a bong is a little bit more step-based, right? Step 1, pack bowl. Step 2, ignite bowl. Step 3, inhale bowl. That's like the steps for taking a bong rip, where there's a little bit more steps with rolling a joint, especially if you add more steps to yourself, for yourself, like writing an intention. What's that accent? South African bone digger. Bone digger is South African. Ryan is here again. My best guess is that even the people I feel are evil are just doing their best, not trying to be evil, but in a pattern that isn't truly serving them. Yeah, Ryan? That right there is wisdom if I've ever heard it, man. And I'm so happy that you're the one saying that. I'm so happy that you're the one saying that. Ryan says that the people he thinks, he feels are evil in his life or in the world as we perceive it, he understands as well that they're probably just trying their best. And they've been confronted with choices, with ways of living, with standards of living that they're not willing to give up on. And as a result of that, inability to change, we consider them evil because they're not like we are. And that is one of the biggest things as well. Who are we even to say that what the difference between good and evil is? Because technically things just happen, right? Things happen. Like, I feel I want to share this story, even though I've shared it before, but it basically goes like this. A man living in a village has one horse and a son. And one day this horse runs away. And the people of the village come to the man and they give their condolences and they tell him, we're so sorry, about you losing your horse. We know you love that horse. We hope you get better. We hope things get better. And the man says, things happen as they must. The next day the horse comes back with a whole troop, a whole flock, whole rally, I don't know, of other horses, a bunch of other ones, wild horses that it brought with it. And everybody in town comes back to this man and is like, wow, congratulations. How amazing is this? How lucky are you to have all of these horses? The man says, things happen as they must. The next day, his son was trying to get these horses a little bit trained so he can actually ride them. And during this whole ordeal, he fell off one of the wild horses and he broke one of his legs. And the entire town came back and lamented and was like, bro, we're so sorry about your son breaking his leg, dude. That fucking sucks, man. And he says, everything happened as they must. And the next day, there is an army general roaming through the town, taking all of the young, able-bodied men to war because they were able-bodied and there was a war. And he came to the man's house who the story is about, and he saw his son's broken leg and he told them, yeah, you stay, bro, you're not going to be any help to us in a war effort. And everybody was, again, happy about the fact, congratulating him. And he says things happen as they must. And this story, you can go on forever. And it brings back to your awareness this understanding, this interpretation, that what we think of as a good event, what we think of as the right thing in any given situation, might lead to something, have butterfly effects in the future that you could not imagine. Your horse running away brings horses back. You couldn't have imagined that. The act of your horse running away could have been seen as a potentially negative one. It bringing horses back as a good one. But then these troop of horses led to the breaking of your son's leg. So were they a bad thing? Oh, but the breaking of the leg means he doesn't have to go to war. Oh, so it's a good thing to break the leg. Who are we to say? How can we know? How can we actually know? And then knowing that it's that complex, it's that whole pattern of wondering, of thinking, of trying to do the right thing in our lives, and the way we try and live our lives, the way we try and live our lives of other people. There's so much variability. I'm looking for my lighter, which is usually around my neck, but it seems I've taken it off and put it somewhere. Excuse me again, I'm sorry. I'll be back in a second. Maybe this is a good thing. It's not a bad thing that I don't have my lighter around my neck. Maybe there was supposed to be a little bit of turmoil. I'm gonna try to find it. Nani? Excuse me. Bro. What the nani, bro? Nani the fuck? What the what? Wait a second. I can't find it. Did I hide it from myself? What the fuck? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Actually, where I checked, but I think I've dropped another scarf over top of it. Sorry. I'm sorry. Here we're back again. Was that a good thing? Me leaving for a bit was it a bad thing? I feel like, in my opinion of it, was just bad. Like, you shouldn't do that. We have responsibility. I'm gonna trip myself out too much. Truly serving them. Shelly, thank you for joining us again. It's been a while. Set my alarm to say hello. Oh, wow, Shelly, I'm so sorry for letting you wait, dude. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here again. How have you been? How's life been treating you? Has it been enough? That's our intention. That's the message we have on our joint today. It's just enough. Have you had enough as of late, friends? Has the lack of enough led you to feelings of anger, hatred, frustration? We have a word in Afrikaans called, or said as, moedeloos. Moedeloos. It's like a combination between being defeated and sad and hopeless at the same time. Do you believe that having enough will help that? I feel like that's a question I'm asking that I know the answer to, but I'd like to know your, intention. I'm asking this question to all of you, friends. I thought of doing evil in my most heated, angry moment. No details here, but yes, it was an evil thought. What led you to that evil thought? You don't have to share details of what the evil thought was, Shell, but was it a social interaction? Was it an attack of your ego? Was it an attack of your financial, personal well-being? Was it an attack of a person that you love? What led you to those feelings? Like, maybe if we can identify why we think these things, feel these things, we can make ourselves more aware to not let other people think or feel these things. Leonidas is here again with us. I have forced myself to quit all caffeine for a while. I wouldn't wish this evil on anyone, lol. Leonidas, you got this, bro. You got this, man. The longest I've gone without coffee after starting to drink coffee when I was like 12 years old or something, probably younger than that, was like a month. And that was during the whole October thing. It's been, like, I was actually genuinely concerned about it, Leonidas. Weirdly enough, I thought to myself that I wasn't going to be able to be aware enough, myself enough, because of the lack of caffeine. I'm gonna leave the light. But no. Like, the first few days was, I guess, not difficult, but different. I hope that you worked through the first few days. How long do you plan on going for, Leonidas? I think we're all capable of being evil. Every single one of us. On B, you're completely right. I feel one of the biggest things that leads to us being evil is scarcity. At least what we consider evil, right? Like, the aggressive nature of us as human beings stemmed from this want to defend our scarce resources. If you had a certain patch of land where you collected berries, hunted for food, yada yada yada, and another tribe of other humans encroached on your area and started eating into your food supplies, as a result making your kids go hungry, there had to be a level of aggression to defend you, your family, your loved ones. And it made sense from that perspective to be aggressive in that case. But now we're so spread out, we know about each other. We know that there's only an artificial scarcity to this world. There's enough food to go around at the moment, as it is. There is enough food to go around. And it used to be, like in South Africa especially, we had the government subsidizing food production. If you wanted to produce food for your country, the government would help you to do that, to take care of its own people. And it drives me insane that we've gone backwards or stuff like that. Like, I mean, here in South Africa at least, maybe it's different in other countries. Thank you for into and out of the magic portal, Leonidas. I appreciate that. Literally gave me chills. Our suffering could also be blessings. That's the thing on B. Who are we to say? And I feel, if anything, like living with that perspective that man did as well, that old man, saying that things are the way they are, or they will be the way they should be, or being here now, no matter what the context of the situation is, not being overly happy about a certain outcome, not being overly sad about a certain outcome, And it sounds like I'm preaching or encouraging this neutral, uninterested state of existence, but it's more so this feeling of acceptance for things as they are, even when they're not the way that we want them to be. Because I feel, especially when we have this feeling like things aren't the way that they're supposed to be, it can lead us to, again, whatever evil can be. We can lash out to our loved ones, we can do selfish things, we can be aggressive towards other people as a projection. Being calm, being happy, being here, no matter where we are. And I know it's a reoccurring theme on these streams: presence, awareness, the center point of that infinity, giving you the awareness of both sides. And again, to my mind, there comes this question, like, isn't that just neutrality? Aren't you just going to be in the middle of limbo? Isn't it just going to be bland? And on the other side, I want to say that's going to be the most intense place that you can be. In complete immersion with the infinity. Hermes Blur. Are you okay with pushing us to even think of Soviet and Nazi perpetration so relatively? I'm not trying to trick you here. Serious question. Okay with pushing us to even think of Soviet and Nazi so relatively? My friend, I'm not trying to push you to think of anything in any way. If it comes to our personal opinions of things, what the Nazis did, what the Soviets did to their people, to, other people, is absolutely fucking unacceptable. There's no way to even justify it for a second. I'm not trying to say that the suffering that those people went through is in any way justified, ever. I'm talking more about day-to-day human existence. What we consider as an evil thing to do. Like, let me give you an example. I have a friend who got into a social relationship with a girl. And this girl she was beautiful, she was interested, and because this friend was kind of in the space where he thought he was supposed to be interested as well, he kind of went with things as they are. Then he found himself in a romantic setting, clothes went flying, and in that moment, he realized that this is not what he wants, that this is not the right way to do what he feels he needs to do, be it get over his ex, be it move on, be it get back into a relationship. That wasn't the right way to do it. And as a result of that realization, that feeling, he decided to back out of that interaction, mid-interaction. Now, from the perspective of the person who gets backed out on, that can be seen as extremely evil, extremely malicious, extremely cold-hearted, because it can feel like an attack of their selves because you did not feel the same way that they did, especially when it comes to sexual attraction to one another. So how that person is going to interpret that exchange, that feeling, they could potentially go through their entire existence thinking, how could this person be so evil to do this thing to me, and continue with their lives, whatever. But from the other perspective, from the person who made the decision for themselves, it would have been evil committed onto themselves if they went through with something that wasn't necessarily to their personal, emotional, soul's benefit. So that is what I'm trying to push you to think about, if anything, Shell, is those type of interactions. How difficult it can be to draw these hard lines of, oh, this person is evil because of this, this, and this, when we don't necessarily know all of the thought that went behind it. The Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union, what happened to their, the Soviets' personal people, people were literally starving. Men were defending their families from cannibals. literally being skinned to the bone. Like that is what happened to people because of these decisions that men made. And those things that happened are absolutely evil. But why do they make these decisions? What led them? That is where I want our attention to be. What led them? What pushed them? What happened in their lives? What stimulated, inspired them to do these sort of things? Is it power? Is it fear? Is it things that happened to them as children? Is it the way that the world treated them? That's what I feel we should think about. Because if we can understand these things, if we can feel into these things, we can be more gentle, more understanding of people around us so that we don't inspire violence, if that makes any sense. I'm proud of you. We are proud of you on P as well. Thank you for encouraging our friend for stopping smoking. Good morning to you, Toasty, my dude. Thank you for joining us. Fire breathing Jenny is here as well. She say, good morning. Holiday baking day. Holiday baking day. Our intention for this join today, Jenny, excuse me, is enough. What is enough? Do we know? Is there such a thing for human beings? Unfortunately, we understand infinity. I mean, we understand it in the way that we understand it, we can't understand it, maybe, if anything. But when it comes to financial resources, when you try and understand infinity in that scenario, in that exchange, it's impossible. You cannot be infinitely wealthy when it comes to financial wealth. You live on a finite planet. But if you try to be, you're gonna hurt a lot of people on the way. A lot of people. A betrayal of love, but about enough. And lately, life has been full, very full. My Christmas mug overfloweth with mint tea. I'm so happy to hear that, Shell. It sounds amazing. Scarcity leads to, wait for it, scarcity. That's so bad. Mern, such a good question. But my intuition is that it is about scarcity too. Absolutely, Ryan. You know, the whole Soviet Union, they hoarded financial abundance for themselves to the point where other people literally didn't have water, didn't have food to eat for months at a time. Nazi Germany technically wanted more land as well. They were like, we're going to take the entire world. And they also had this Aryan race trip, you know, like, oh, we're going to breed these humans together and we're going to have the perfect human. Fear, scarcity, is it maybe scarcity? Maybe there wasn't in Hitler's mind enough perfect people. So he took it upon himself to make more. Maybe it is just scarcity. Maybe it's this conceptualization that you're limited, that leads men to doing things so atrocious. People want to be remembered, and they'll do horrible things to do that as well. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's a fear of being forgotten. It's difficult. It's so difficult. Facts you speak. I'm happy you feel it as well. I'm sitting in a warm, cozy tent at Haywire, listening to the sound of thunderstorms with two tiny kittens curled up in my sleeping bed. A hot coffee in my hand, made of love from Gobnugget, and a bowl of green at the ready. I'm in heaven. Thank you for painting me such a gorgeous, absolutely immersive picture. I appreciate that so much, Toasty. Wow. Tell Gob I love him, please. I mean, you probably have already, but tell him I love him still. Love him to bits. If he's not here right now, he probably is, and he's probably sitting next to you, if anything. I love you, Gob! Shouts into the universe. And I love you, Toasty. Thank you for sharing that with me, man. For caffeine, at least 6 months. Okay. I want to reset my body, especially in regards to sleep. I've used caffeine as a crutch instead of an enhancer for far too long. It's an addiction of mine. I feel that, Leonidas. Thank you for being so vulnerable and willing to share with us as well, my friend. Why do you feel... Okay, let me ask it this way. Do you feel your usage pattern is toxic? Do you find yourself improperly sleeping and then medicating with caffeine to feel better because of your improper sleep, and then because you're drinking caffeine you find yourself sleeping poorly again, and then you find yourself in that loop? Is that what's happening right now? Or do you think you're overdoing your coffee consumption throughout the day where it becomes a financial burden? That can happen. That can actually unironically happen, especially if you opt for like Starbucks coffee or something like that. You drink 7 coffees a day, you can believe it could become a problem. What does addiction mean to you? Like I consider my mom to be a caffeine addict as well. Like she'll drink 5, 6 cups of coffee a day easy. She would literally put down her cup of coffee, like finish it, and then if someone else makes them a cup of coffee, she'll be like, make me one as well again. It's like, Mom, did you just finish your coffee? Yeah. And then my mom is like, oh yeah, she doesn't know about all these drugs that us young ones are doing, this weed we're smoking and that we're eating. No, 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 no. I'm like, Mom, you're already doing the exact same thing. You're just using the drug that's called caffeine. In the same way that all the other things, as we smoke it, as we eat it, gives us a little compound that bonds up our brain. Caffeine does the same thing. It just gives you a fast state of soberness, if that makes sense. Gotta go fast but sober. Good day, people. Good day to you. Eleni, thank you for joining us again. How are you doing? Kitties! I use push, meaning invite, in this context to challenge us to explore the boundaries of your idea. I'm challenging you to explore the boundaries of your idea, Shell. If anything, explore the boundaries of how you've considered yourself, how you've considered other people, how you've considered people who have committed acts of maybe emotional violence or personal violence against you. And that was something that was very difficult for me to do as well. I had to genuinely forgive my high school bullies. And it was a weird exchange. Like I found myself almost awkwardly doing it. Like at first it was like, oh, this is something I need to get done, like a chore. And then as I started to like forgive them over and over and over again, I started thinking about them. And I started thinking about what they must have been going through as well, be it on a parental level, be it on a life level, emotional, maybe even romantic. We go through so much as people, and we do stupid things as a result of that as well sometimes. And in that way, forgiveness is for yourself. You're not forgiving them because it's going to make their lives better. You're forgiving them because you're seeing within your active state of consciousness there are these things inside of you that every single time you touch them, they hurt again. Every single time you open that box, you start crying out of the pain that you see inside there. Instead of bringing whatever inside that box out into the open, forgiving it, thinking, walking around it, really kind of looking at it, we hide it away somewhere in ourselves, and we don't allow ourselves to touch those things. And it's a sense of bravery that we have to have within ourselves, within our own abilities, within our own understanding of who we want to be and what stories we want to continue telling ourselves. We're not victims. We're really not victims. And I know we've been through some bad shit, but in this moment, we're not victims. We may have been victimized, but we're not victims. We don't get labeled by the things that happen to us. If anything, the labeling of things that happen to us is the constant stream of words running through your head. So start labeling yourself differently. Wow! Oh, mine as well. I need to cleanse. I do feel that as well. Like I've been going pretty hard with the weed again on B, but I've been enjoying it at least, if anything. I wish you getting well. Getting through the first 2 weeks is the most difficult. You might have to fight off naps. I mean, it's okay to take some naps as well. Hermes Blur. Dwarf, I feel like the title of the stream suits you. Why, thank you so much, Dwarf. I appreciate your love, my friend. Thank you. How have you been, friend? How's life been treating you? Sounds like a good space. That's beautiful. In regards to the war, was the Allies doing nighttime bomb raids against cities of civilians and evil we wanted to commit to hopefully end the war sooner? Curious on your thoughts. How interesting of an idea that is. So I'm not going to comment directly on the context of what you just said, Leonidas, because I don't actually know history that well. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just don't really actively looking at those parts of human atrocity, if that makes sense. But what I will address is this question of committing evil acts in order to stipend or bring to a halt the committing of evil acts. And how there can be this justification, this sense of this is what's supposed to happen. It's so difficult. You know, I never want to be in a position like that. Hopefully, we never will be. Because I don't know if I'll be wise enough to make a decision like that. My decisions might be seen as cowardly. What do you feel, Leonidas? I have a suspicion that everyone is redeemable no matter what. I fear that will be proved wrong. So, the way that I would prove you right, Fire Breathing Jenny, if you want to be proved right, is just on the scale of the infinite. You know, in that way, technically everyone, every single one is redeemable. Infinitely redeemable. But sometimes it will take longer for others to redeem themselves if they want to be. It will take them longer to want to be redeemed than others. And as a result of that, the redeeming act or process of redemption might take longer. And that is something that's very difficult for me to say as well, because in order to justify that someone needs redemption, I need to cast judgment on that person first. And I can't do that. I'm not wise enough to do that. The only thing I can do is share my perspective, what I see. But thank you, Fire Breathing Jenny, for believing that about humanity. If anything, if we have to be proved wrong in believing that, then so be it as well. Good day to you. I like to believe this as well. A lot of abuse is about scarcity of affection. Does that feel true? So I'm very fortunate to have never experienced like familial abuse in my personal, well, maybe once, but that was my mom's brothers fighting each other. Fortunately, no abuse being committed to me or my family having abuse committed within it, if that makes sense. But as soon as I read your words, Firebreathing Jenny, this that abuse is about scarcity of affection. It's so counterproductive. Is the first thing that I think about. Like if you're abusing someone because you feel lack of affection from them, you're just creating a scenario in which they cannot be affectionate towards you. And I wonder if that is maybe again trying to establish some sort of dominance, power over in that situation, make someone feel a little bit better about themselves. You know, when we do that in a lot of ways, we can do that by hijacking a conversation, having a narrative that we want to push, make someone believe something about themselves. Try and hurt someone. Why? And I think it's very important for us just to be aware. You know, if we see these things, to allow ourselves enough freedom to step away from them. But we do love one another. You know, that's one of the things that boggle my mind. And I'm not saying every single abuse case, obviously, but in abuse cases, there is this likelihood, propensity for the woman or the man, you know, to stay in the relationship because they still actually love the person who is abusing them. And that just again shows to me the power of love. You know, that you would literally be willing to stay with a person who actually actively harms you. Is that a love for the self that you want to keep that person around? Is the love for them that you want to keep them around? I just wish I could help. If anything, if any of your friends are going through anything and you need help, you need someone to talk to, please, I'd be more than willing to. When evil is done to me or people I care about, I want revenge. Is that evil? Depends on what you consider revenge. If you have to hurt them in order to feel some sort of satisfaction, you hurt them emotionally or physically, I think you will know if you're being evil. I don't have to tell you. It doesn't help though. You know, and I think we've seen this so many times portrayed in books and movies and series. The revenge arc is usually a toxic one. Because you just find yourself either creating more enemies, creating more turmoil after committing the act, or you suffer, you're angry, you're in the state of hatred before the act. Constant thinking about things, running over them, hurting ourselves by hurting another person in our minds. I don't think revenge helps, Eleni. That's the only thing that I can say. Has it helped you? Do you feel once you've been hurt and you committed an act of revenge, has that helped you? Genuinely, I'm asking. Now we are here, there with you. Thank you for bringing me. Thank you, genuinely, Toasty. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. The whole justice thing, dude. Justice, judgment, guilt, and then needing something outside of ourselves to forgive us for our guilt, for our injustices. It's hectic, dude. You're completely right about the vengeance thing. In love, but yes, I think it's a human nature. Absolutely, absolutely. I can't believe those is here. It's so nice. I'm screaming at him for you. We can't hear each other because the rain is too loud. Toasty, dude. Take your tents into the barn or something, bro. Set up with the animals, man. I don't want you to be getting soaked, dude. Being in the tent in the rain can be extreme. I'm getting these flashbacks from when I went to a music festival, and the entire music festival had a single hour worth of sunlight. It was just raining the whole time. There was so much water in my tent. There was so much water on my blankets. I literally had to cuddle another person just to stay warm throughout the night. PTSD. How about all that spleef you're doing? That spleef you're doing, Holmes. I don't know what spleef is. Is this spleef? I don't consider it evil, my friend. I got to grow a plant from a seed into a sapling. I spend time with these saplings, playing their music and talking to them. Chose the strong ones, the beautiful ones, the ones that wanted to live, the most. And I grew them to adulthood. And by the end of their adulthood, they die. They have finished their cycle. And instead of letting them perish still perish, instead of letting them dissipate rather into the ground, I honor them by appreciating and enjoying the compounds that they have created. Growing plants is a beautiful, friend. I don't think it's evil at all. Feels true to me, the more love we've shown, the easier it is to feel. The easier it feels to show love, I guess what you mean to say. The more love we're shown, the easier it is to show love. It makes me, I want to say sad, when I think about people who have grown up in households where they haven't been taught love, where genuine unconditional love hasn't been a thing, where there's always been a transactional or expectational behavior associated with the love that they receive from their parents, and how that almost can stunt us as individuals. But I don't think it means that we don't have the ability to love anymore. If anything, I hope that we can encourage each other in these moments, in these spaces, to love each other more. We were gently awoken this morning by a cow rap battle. It was epic. Mo, 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 mo. I can only imagine those. It sounds amazing. I made the dog stay in as long as I could. The Bobby barricade worked. I love your color choices today. That outfit is fire. Thank you, Brother Bay. I'm so happy you like it as well. I was like looking at all the shirts that I have, and I was like, which one do I want to wear? Which one do I want to wear? And this one kind of popped out to me. And then I had to go and check which was the last, or at least 5 days ago, scarf that I wore. And it was this one. And this outfit came together. And I was like, yeah, this feels right. So I'm happy you appreciate it as well, Toasty. Thank you, Brother Bay. And make sure to include a warning on the label, does not exceed recommended dose. I'm just thinking of this from the kitten's perspective. They're probably like jackpot. Absolutely. It sounds amazing. Especially if it's raining outside. Being inside a sleeping bag is the best place you can be as a kitty. Evil is what you make it. There we go, Mariah. Coming in with the wisdom. Basically distilling what we've been trying to talk about into a single 6-word sentence, excuse me. Evil is what you make it. What I'm considering is there a way to make everything not evil? If evil is what you make it, how to make things not evil. And in trying to make things not evil, technically you're still going to need contrast as to what is evil, which means you're still making evil things. Cannot escape. The merman Pashmina is perfect with this shirt. Like literally, I was thinking merman's name as well today, just sending him love into the universe. Good morning, friends. Good morning, Mel. Good morning, Mariah. Thank you for joining us, my friend. How are you? How are the boys doing? Hope you're doing well. In reference to my earlier comment, I think achieving victory over evil by becoming evil defeats the point. But then again, was it a calculated, absolutely necessary evil? Impossible for me to make a choice also. It's a double-edged sword. Perfectly put, Leonidas. And like one of the things that I was thinking about, this whole Batman perspective / philosophy, like if you kill a killer, the amount of killers in the world stays the exact same. And then there's people that jokingly say, what if I kill 2 killers? What if I kill 3 killers? So what if I kill, and you can keep going. Can we justify that? Vigilantism? Is that good? Evil is what you make it. Hey, Mammy! Thank you for joining us, my friend. How are you doing, Mammy? How are the kids? People hold on to old memories and hope it's the last thing to die. We hope for change, but sometimes change never comes. That's a tragedy to me. Because we're hoping for the change outside of ourselves, Mammy. I think that's why we suffer as much as we do. Is that we expect things to change externally to the point where we're going to be comfortable and happy. And it rarely is the case. Rarely is the case. Hope everyone on the hill slept well. Me too. The rain has been coming down a good hour, but it's calming down now. Happy to hear that actually on Be Shame. I'm just imagining Gov and Toasty being able to actually come out of their tents again. Oh, the cloud wants to water you all, sending its love. Technically, every single drop from the perspective of an individual plant can be seen as this absolute lifesaver. This resource, this bron. I guess resource is technically the word as well of life. Bron van lewe. The very thing that allows us to live. Just our bodies, being 70% water, for example. The fact that we can move is surreal. You're breaking the laws of physics with your mind. What the fuck? What do you mean? Yeah. Things at rest want to stay at rest. Things in motion want to stay in motion. And we are smack dab in the middle of that. Choosing to put ourselves in motion. Choosing to come to stops. And we're doing this by thinking. Okay, so you want to do an experiment? You want to do something that's kind of trippy? You can put your hands down on your knees or on the table in front of you. And you can choose one. Look at one of your hands. And now, in the same way that if you are sitting on the couch and you see the remote far away from you, and you try and bring that remote closer to yourself with your mind. You've tried doing that, right? Try and do that with your hand. Try and lift your hand in the way that you would lift your hand, but try it in that way, where you try and do it with your mind, right? As if it was not a part of you. Try and lift it. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. Extremely. And to me, that is just an indication between the difference in mind and brain. Because technically, mind is the thing in control of your brain. I'm now, with mind, choosing to move my limbs instead of, with mind, choosing to move things. Because mind is technically, in my opinion, this thing that is outside of this dimension, peering into it. And the peering into it is happening actively with your entire body. You being able to touch things is you peering into this universe. We're not just these beings. At least I believe that. We're not just human. We're experiencing human. Oh goodness. Just seeing this, I appreciate that. We appreciate you on B. Thank you, my friend. Is there supernatural evil forces? So, I would want to add another word to your question. Is there supernatural evil forces outside of us / ultimate awareness slash divine mind. No. I believe, if anything, supernatural evil forces are just a part of the whole as much as you are. And if anything, what gives the supernatural evil forces power is the power we give it. That's what I believe. I've seen, so, and in that way, what I'm actually saying, if just to like kind of clarify, Elimi, is that it's you. You are the evil thing that you think you see outside in the world sometimes. Like you are technically both devil and angel, encapsulated within a single existence. You're not separate from any of it. And it can be a very difficult thing to think about / accept. And some people use it as a means to justify. There was this video of a school principal who was trying to get her students to calm down. And in her attempt to do so, and her not being listened to, she made an extremely racist remark in front of everybody, being video recorded and stuff. And her plea to her doing so is that the devil made her do it. The supernatural evil force outside of her made her do that. Wasn't her. No. What? How could it be? Her? Couldn't be her. No, not me. I would never commit these evil acts. No. It was the devil that made me do this. And in that way, I feel this understanding / belief in evil forces that are swaying us to do things against our will, yada yada yada, is just escapism 101. Trying to not take responsibility for the choices that we make and the ways that we think, the biases that we've held on to. Get up and dance, dude. I'm dancing. I'm dancing. You just have to look. My body might not be moving, but I'm dancing. The dance of life. The dance of ego, the dance of persona, the dance of morality, ethics. Dance. Thank you for joining us, Low Level. How are you doing, friend? Have you danced? Do you enjoy dancing? We had a conversation, me, Christian, and Adrian today, about dancing. And how a lot of people believe that you need drugs in order to dance, especially when it comes to festivals or dancing like you're at a festival. Like drugs is something that you now need in order to get this energy of dancing. But if you're listening to good music and you're in a good mood, dancing almost happens through you. You don't even have to think about it. You don't have to make an active decision, and now I'm gonna lift my arm like 30 centimeters, and then I'm gonna pan it to the left, and I'm gonna, turn it 90 degrees. And you don't have to think about these things. You're just dancing. You're moving to the music in a way that feels right. Whatever something feeling right means, right? And technically we do that through conversation, we do that through body language, we do that with everything. Dancing, being danced through. And you as the medium, you as the dancer. I'm sorry if I'm diving too deep level. What time do you have where you are? It's 5 right now, friend. 2 minutes past 5. How about you? Is it early? Is it late? Where are you from? Yas Queen. There is no time where he is. You don't know that? How do you know that? Time doesn't exist, bro. And it's so funny that you say that, Yas Queen. Christian gives me so much shit because I have a bunch of alarms throughout the day. And he's like, why do you have all of these alarms? But on a realistic level, if I don't have alarms, I just don't think about time. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as time. There is only now. Like our Earth is spinning, so there's a side of the planet being shown towards the face of a fucking burning sun, a star technically, and then not facing that burning star, and this creates oscillation. And then with this oscillation, we have evolved into this sleep pattern cycle that is very necessary. And you could argue that we explore an entire universe in our sleep actively every single night, and then we just kind of re-emerge into this wakeful state. But when we are in this wakeful state, there is only that state of wakefulness, the state of awareness. As soon as you open your eyes, as soon as you peer into this world again, you are in that moment. You are in that moment right now. And that moment just continues throughout the day, and then the sun happens to go past the horizon, and then it's dark again. And it creates these illusions, these interpretations of the passing of time. And on a universal level, the way the sun is eventually going to burn out and explode, technically lose mass, expand, burn out, then explode. In a way, we can measure time by looking at things like this as well. But again, now we're making these distinctions of what is the right way to do something, what is the wrong way to do something. Is it right if our sun burns stably, or is it supposed to be this beautiful explosion at the end of its life? And then that's the right thing. Or, because of its explosion, it has now fused all of these new elements together, tossing it into the universe, as a result, forming into clumps of planetary debris, those planetary debris pieces, consolidating to become a proper planet, and then that leading to life a few billion years down the line. Maybe that was the purpose of that star. It wasn't supposed to burn stably. So in that way, time, it really is this story that we tell ourselves, and it's a good one. It's a good story. It's a convincing one. And it helps us be productive, which is maybe something that I have a hard time with sometimes. I'll concede. So I don't think living in timelessness is necessarily all beneficial. Again, creating a good versus bad scenario where it can be seen as something that's bad. I'm sorry. It's a constant trip. Life just never ceases to trip me the fuck out. I literally cannot get a break. And I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with it. Universal time. Thank you. Desperate ad. I appreciate you being here with us as well, friend. And Ash, love to you, my friend. 7 a.m. in North California. You're up early. Thank you, Shell, for being here with us so early, my friend. What is it like there in Northern California? I've met a few friends from SoCal, as they like to say, but none from NoCal just yet. How do you find it? Is it better than South California? Do you have a preference? I'd be more than willing to hear you out. The rain on Haywire Hill is falling as snow here, baking in my warm, cozy kitchen, thinking of the joy my friends will have with what I make and listening to the wonderfully meaty conversation. Jenny, I love you so much, my friend. Thank you for painting me a picture into your world as well. Man, if I could encourage you friends to do anything, like Jenny's comment today and Tosi's comment today has been like very much these little windows, little openings into your worlds that I get to look into, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you very much. Why are some cultures very time conscious and others loosey-goosey about it? Having lived in both, I can't fit in anywhere. Elimi, that's a beautiful question, and I would like, before I try and answer any of it, would like to know from which cultures you came, and I feel Indian culture has a little bit more of a timeless aspect to it, at least from what I've heard. And For instance, Japanese culture is very, very time oriented. So, from which cultures have you originated, come from, and why do you feel you can't fit in anywhere? Do you feel your understanding of time isn't aligning with either side of it? Have you explored enough? Have you seen other places and their interpretations of time? Why do you feel you need to fit in? Is it something that's going to bring you happiness if you are able to fit in? These are all of the questions that come to my mind for you, friend. Like, how do you feel? Keep up the positive. Thank you, my friend. I will. To you friends who don't know, Earache in my eye, very interesting username, is also a friend who's been streaming on Arpan with the intention of sharing positivity and love. I love you, friend. Thank you for sharing your positivity. I smell snickerdoodles. Shall. I love that. Oh, Paul! Hey, stranger, it's been a while. I hope you're doing well. Dude, I think. Is it happening, Paul? This might have been the very first time that me and you have managed to see each other as soon as you send the comment. I'm good. How's Blue? How are you, dude? How's your girlfriend? How have you been? How's work been? I haven't tuned in your stream in a while as well. Have you been streaming, Paul? I don't even know, dude. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see you again. I hope you're well, man. I'm like picturing Paul in his space right now. I know Paul probably isn't in that space right now, but to me, Paul is in his garage, and there's this blue dangly thing behind him. You know, I see his beautiful face. That's Paul's universe to me, staring into the abyss right now. I love you, dude. That's the no you, Mikey G. You're the one listening, friend. You're the one that can experience the depth of that. Like I can literally say the same string of words to two different people. One person is gonna be like, "What?" Another person is gonna be like, "Wow," you know. And that experience of what and wow is gonna be true to you. It's gonna be your experience, and allowing ourselves to be fascinated, overwhelmed, or inspired by things instead of being disinterested or ununderstanding of things. It's all you, dude. You're the deep one. We're getting a new puppy, says Paul. That's freaking sick. What puppy are you getting? Is Blue gonna be okay with it? Are you getting it for Blue? Has Blue been alone for a long time? How old is Blue? Like all the questions that come to my mind. Burmese mountain dog. Burmese mountain dog. I would be lying if I said an image of a Burmese mountain dog pops into my mind when I hear that word Burmese. Burmese mountain dog. I'm trying. For some reason, my rendering of what a Burmese mountain dog should look like ought to be wolf-esque features, maybe a little bit smaller, maybe brown. I don't know why. Please, can you give me a mild description? I would love to go and Google right now, but I don't have access to another device. Thank you so much for sharing this conversation, Melty. On B, thank you for sharing it with me as well. I'll wait like a second for Paul to send me another message, and then maybe we'll say goodbye for today. How are we doing it? I genuinely am surprised that we're managing with the amount of stuff constantly going through our heads. How are we still having conversations, driving cars, cooking food, buying groceries? It's amazing. You're amazing, friend. You're amazing. Genuinely, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for how much you go through. Thank you for being here in this moment with me instead of being anywhere else. Not that there's any better or worse way to be. I just appreciate you for being here with me in this moment. I don't take it for granted. Burmese? Blue. just turned 5. He'll be a great big brother for his little sister. I can only imagine. I haven't seen you. You haven't seen me like ships in the night, friend. You can say ships in the night, or like Uncle Becky and me's interpretation of it. You can see it as light buddies. So when I have light and I can kind of share light, there is light, and then when you have light and you can share light, there is light. So as long as we both share light when there's light, there will always be light and light shared. Thank you, Paul, for doing that, friend. I appreciate you so much, friends. Thank you for sharing this space with me. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll be here again tomorrow. If you need someone to confide in, I'm here for you, friends. Please do reach out. You're loved. You're cared for. Life is worth living. Keep living it. I'll see you, friends, again tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, my friends.